Alright guys, Epic here, and holy fuck. If you haven't watched State of the Game yet, go and watch it now. Because, honestly, that was pretty amazing what I just saw. I want to talk about what's happened here. So State of the Game today was for the 1.4 patch coming out in October. They still don't have an exact date, they're still hoping it'll come out in October, and I really hope it does. However, if it has to be delayed so that, we get the perfect content, I'm all for it. But at the moment, it's still coming out in October. So, in today's State of the Game, they went over the 1.4 changes they're looking to implement. And I can tell you now, if you don't play this game anymore, you might want to reconsider that. The changes that are coming, I can promise you, will bring back so many players because they're so game-changing. The fundamentals of the game will change. That's for groups, solo players, PvE. I mean, PvP isn't being addressed directly in the Dark Zone, for example, but the changes that are happening in PvE and outside of the game to the core experience will change PvP anyway. So, like the rogue system, so that won't change, but PvP will change because of it. So, the three main categories that the devs or Massive spoke about were time to kill or time to be killed, difficulty progression, and loot. Okay, so let's just start off with the first one. Okay, time to kill or time to be killed. So, as you're all aware at the moment, the game sucks in regards to killing enemies and being killed. The game's too hard. The enemies, especially in the end game after level 30, they're just far too bullet spongy and they deal way too much damage. Here's a stat for you. At the moment, I believe a trash mob will kill you in, I believe, roughly 2.1 seconds. That's like a standard sort of Riker. Okay, it's such a trash mob. After this patch, that will go up to 6 seconds. So it's like triple the time it's going to take for them to kill you, which is amazing. Now, time to kill them at the moment, this is with what they were using in the State of the Game was sort of an unoptimized build, an unmodded ACR assault rifle. To kill a Riker, at the moment it takes roughly 3.8 seconds. After the patch, it will be 2.1. Now remember, that's an unoptimized build. If you optimize your build, you're looking at what? 1 to 1.5 seconds? That's unmodded as well, to kill a Riker. That's amazing. That is how it should be. I should feel powerful in this game, and everyone should feel powerful in this game. If you've got optimized gear, if you worked your ass off to get gear, you should be optimized, and you should be able to kill stuff quickly. So that's a big change that's coming. The time to kill will be drastically changed, which is really good. Obviously, the game at the moment from levels 1 to 30 won't change at all because the actual scaling is linear at the moment. So none of the enemies get harder from levels 1 to 30. Obviously, the higher level they are, but because you're getting better, they don't seem like they're actually dying. It takes longer for them to be killed, if that makes sense. So, and that's what they want in the end game. And I think these changes will do that. There is actually a graph I have here which shows you the current scaling in the blue bar, and then you have your orange bar which will show the time to kill once the 1.4 comes out. As you can see, it's completely flat. It's completely linear. The time to kill enemies will be the same from levels 1 to 30. And 30 plus in the end game, which is really good. And I'm really glad that they've actually decided to do this. The problem we always had with this is because of skills like Pulse, which increase your DPS by, I think they said 78% damage. That's crazy, and that's like smart cover as well. The game was tuned for you having optimized gear and using those talents. So that's why the enemies were so OP. I would rather have a game where I can kill someone in 2 seconds than be killed by them in 2 seconds. I'd rather feel powerful and overpowered than feel like I've wasted all my time getting this gear and I just get killed instantly, which is what it's like at the moment. Some of the other changes that are coming to enemies in general, especially your sort of named NPCs, is their AI will be changing so that they're actually more intelligent. They will be faster. They will run behind cover to save their life. They won't just walk out shooting at you and whatever their stupid AI does. They'll actually be smarter, which is really good, and I'm glad that they're bringing that out. So that's the main change that's coming that's coming in regards to time to kill and time to be killed, which means the Dark Zone will change massively because you won't have to be avoiding Rikers or whatever anymore in order to have a PvP battle, because you can withstand the damage from NPCs 3 times as long, which is really great, which is really, really, really great. Now, the next point I want to go on to, which is probably the biggest change coming, actually, is difficulty progression. So, at the moment, there's a real big problem with the game where, due to the NPC scaling, the gap between hard and challenge mode in the game is outrageous, especially for a solo player. If you're a solo player and you can complete challenge mode on your own, well done to you. You must have some very good gear, because I can't. I can't. I've been playing the game for 23 days and I still can't do it. Not really. Even in groups, sometimes if I'm in a group with especially random people, can't do it. Normal mode and hard mode feel a little bit better. They do. They're still hard for some people, absolutely, but they feel a little bit better. And they want to sort of cut that down. They don't want hard and challenge mode, or they don't want challenge mode to be a lot harder than hard mode. They don't even want it to be harder than hard mode, and that's another point they are bringing out. Okay, so when 1.4 comes out, if you are doing an incursion, then basically there'll be this there'll be a thing in the game called the New World level. Okay, this is the massive change that's coming out. What'll happen is when you hit level 30, you'll be able to select the world level that you want to be in. Okay, so there's tier 1, 2, 3 and 4 at the moment. Tier 1, you're looking at level 30 enemies, you know, gear score 163. Tier 2, level 31 enemies, gear score 182. Tier 3, level 32 enemies, gear score 204. And then Tier 4, level 43 enemies, gear score 229. Now, I know what you're thinking. Where's the higher gear score? Where's, my 268s? Well, actually, what they are going to do with gear sets is bring down their gear score from 268 down to 229, which would match high ends. Now, that doesn't mean they're nerfing it. They're not nerfing it at all. They're simply getting rid of the gear score. They're lowering the gear score, and they're actually buffing high ends to be on the same par as gear sets, just so that you've got more diversity in the game. You don't have to have strikers or sentries to do whatever mission you're doing. You can use high ends if you want to, because they're on the same level as gear scores. Yes, gear scores will have additional benefits to them because they obviously have gear set bonuses, which high ends don't, but that will be there. Also, they are getting rid of level 34 and level 35 enemies, which is great as well. Now, the New World level, I want to explain this in a little bit more detail. So, as I said, Tier 1, Tier 2, Tier 3, Tier 4. So, what you'll do is, once you hit level 30, you'll have a notification saying, you're in this gear, this is your tier level 1, okay, which is 163 to 182. So, if you're farming your gear score and you get, obviously, up to gear score 182, you'll get a notification saying you are eligible to go into the 182 to 204 gear bracket. You can stay in the one you're currently at, or you can go up to the higher one and get a better loot. Now, what the New World level is effectively PvE outside of the Dark Zone. Yeah, take a minute. Yeah? So PvE outside the Dark Zone. No longer do you have to go to the Dark Zone to get great loot. You can do it in your normal world, which is amazing. Which is amazing. I mean, I love PvP. You've seen it. If you watch my channel, you'll see I love PvP. But I love PvE. Sometimes I don't want to go in and be sweaty and start killing people. Sometimes I just want to casually play the game and get loot, which you can do. In the New World level that's implemented, you set the world level. So say, for example, at the moment, my gear score is 245. Then my tier level will be tier 4. Okay? So I'll set it to tier 4, and if I go out into the open world that's in the game, all the enemies will be level 33. Okay? And also, the named NPCs, Bullet King, for example, they will be back. And they will respawn if you kill them. Oh my gosh. So, I'm just blown away by that, because that's such a massive move. That open world space is a space that should have been used from day one. And now they are using it for PvE. I'm so happy. Honestly, you can't imagine how happy I am. The great thing about it as well is if you killed named NPCs, they can drop the best loot in the game. They absolutely can drop the best loot in the game. But they do drop it up to, your tier. But so if you're at tier 4 like me, they'll drop gear score 229 loot, the best loot. That's PvE in the open world. And not just that, your standard Rikers, you know, your trash mobs, not your named ones like Bullet King, but your trash ones, they also have a chance to drop loot. And they also have a chance to drop the best loot in the game. So, I had to take a minute when they said that, because I couldn't believe that change that they're making. So, the world levels will be unlocked as you progress. Obviously, the higher your gear score gets, then the more, you know, the chance you can open up those tiers, as it were. Only at tier 2 will challenge mode be unlocked. Okay, and only at tier 4 will heroic mode and incursions be unlocked. So, I do actually want to talk about the changes coming to normal, hard, challenge, and heroic missions as well, because there's a big change coming to those. At the moment, if you go from normal to hard to challenge to heroic, the enemies scale in regards to their health goes up and their damage increases. And I believe they also scale based on how many members are in the group. So, from now on, that's not going to happen. Okay? They are not going to scale for health or for damage. They will be the same as per your level. But what those different modes offer you is more loot. So, for example, normal mode, you can get the best loot in the game normal mode. The enemies will drop the best loot for you. So, if you're if you set your world level to tier 4, you go into normal mode on, say, an incursion, you run solo, and you kill them. You'll get one gear set or whatever at the end, which will be 229 loot, best loot for your gear score in the game, and it's on normal mode, which is amazing. If, however, you decide, you know what, I'm ready to go into hard mode, I've got good loot now, let's go into hard mode, and you do hard mode, then that will go up. Not the enemies, the loot will go up. So, yes, it may take a little bit longer, but you'll get 2, say, gear set items or 2 high ends. So, the reward is you get more loot for the higher the level. The enemies don't actually scale up. Unless you're in a group, which I believe the enemies will scale up to the number of players in the group, which is fair enough. If you're in a group of 4, you shouldn't be able to be in the same bracket as someone who's on their own. But for solo players, that doesn't happen. Okay, so for solo players, there's no scaling. The players, the enemies and whatever will be at that level for you as per you being solo. So that's amazing for solo players. Yes, it's going to take longer for a solo player to get the best gear, but you can get the best gear playing solo now. You don't have to be in a group. That was always my gripe with this game, is the fact that if you're solo, you cannot get the best gear in the game, because you can't compete in the highest, you can't compete in challenge modes and heroics, because the enemies are just too strong on your own. But now you can, because the enemies don't change, it's just the loot that changes. Yes, it will take longer, but I don't care. I've invested 23 days in this game, so I don't mind about taking my time on a game. And I'm so happy that they are actually doing this. Really, really happy. Heroic mode will only be available for incursions, from what I can tell, and the max gear score, as I said before, will be 229, which I just want to reiterate that it's not going to nerf. In fact, high ends are probably going to get a buff to match up to them. So that's the major difficulty progression that's changing in this game, and I am so happy about that. What they had in mind was like a clearer path to the end game, and to improve your character. And really, I think for them, what they wanted to bring back was that solo experience. Someone who's solo, who basically can't compete at the higher level because they don't matchmake, or they don't want to, or they don't have friends to play with. I really hope this hasn't come too late, and I really hope this will bring back loads and loads of players. But before we finish there, I do want to talk about loot in the game. I have spoke a little bit about it. So, as I said, all enemies are able to drop the best loot of that tier. And all your trash mobs, your Rikers, whatever, they have a chance to drop the best loot. But it's obviously a less chance than, say, your name enemy. The only difference, and that'll be across every whatever activity you're doing, apart from incursions. Incursions, your trash mobs won't drop any loot. It will just be the named enemies at the end. Also, when it comes to matchmaking, I just want to bring this out as well. When you matchmake, you'll be matchmaking with people in your tier or your world level tier. So say you're in tier level 2, which is what, 182 to 204, I believe, maybe, or no, 163 to 182. Then you'll be matchmaking with people also choosing that tier. But if you're in, say, 229, but you want to go into 183, you can do. That's fine. However, there is power leveling in this game. So, for example, if you're at gear score 163, you're competing in tier 1, but your mate is at gear score 229, he's competing in tier 4, and he wants to basically pull you through to the higher gear score stuff, just so that you can sort of power level, get you right up there quickly. They can do. They just got to invite you to the 229 game that he's in. You'll join, and he can carry you through it. That's fine, and that's what I have. And that's the same for the other way around. If I'm in 182 and I'm struggling, I want a mate who's in a higher tier than me. I want him, you know, mate, come down, help me. I need some help. He can join my group and he can compete in the lower tiers and help me, which is unbelievable. Okay, as I said, with Dark Zone, there's no real changes coming out, so I just want to make you all aware of that. But the fundamentals of the game change the Dark Zone, in my opinion. The world tier levels, I believe, affect the Dark Zone. So, if, for example, I believe, don't quote me on this, but if, for example, you choose tier 4, level 33 enemies, and you go into the Dark Zone, every single one of the enemies in there will be a level 33. So that they are the tier level you decide to go into. Now, the Dark Zone bracket, based on your gear score, the Dark Zone bracket is still based on your gear score, from what I know. So that's really good, and I'm really happy that they're bringing that out. It means that I can go into the Dark Zone on my gear bracket 229, and I can go in fighting against level 30 PvE enemies. Level 30 enemies. I don't have to care about them even hurting me, which means I can actually enjoy PvP without being chased down by flipping shotgunners sniping me across the map. Really, really happy for the changes. There's a lot more, and there's a lot more stats that came with it. And I mean, I can't go over all of it. I'll be here forever. And as I said, there's still loads of stuff coming out. Obviously, there's gear sets and how they're going to be rebalanced. Weapons, how they're going to be balanced. There's so much more stuff to come out, and this is just a bit of it. And this alone is so massive, and I cannot wait for them for this to come out. I can't wait. Apologies about that. So hope you enjoyed the video, guys. If you want to check out below, there's a Reddit link showing all the changes that I've spoke about here. If you want to read them, I know some people read stuff and they take it in better. But if you want to go and check that out, that'll be brilliant. Hope you enjoyed the video, guys. If you do, please like and subscribe. I want to see, you know, at least 10 likes on this video for the changes that are coming out on the Division. Hopefully I can start bringing out some more Division content for you guys, some builds, you know, some stuff like that. Stuff that on my channel previous to the game dying pretty much was massive on my channel. Really, really massive. Some of my videos 70,000 views, which I never thought I'd ever get on any of my videos. So I'm hoping I can get my fan base back, the game itself, and get its sort of base back, and everyone can have a good time and enjoy the game for what it is, because the game itself, at its core bones, is unbelievable. Anyway, guys, see you next one, and peace.